something wild just went down in the Love Island USA Season 7 universe. And honestly, it might be the biggest shock since Casa Amor. Ace is geeking up, Taylor's dropping hints, and somehow Nicolandria, yes, Nic and Olandria, the couple that carried the entire Love Island season, is right back in the middle of the storm. And the center of it all? Huda. What started as a simple live stream turned into one of the messiest moments the Love Island Huda fandom has ever seen. We're talking about reactions that left fans divided, a wave of posts calling people out, and a twist that completely flipped public opinion. But here's the real kicker. While everyone else was arguing online, Olandria did something no one saw coming, and it might have just changed how the entire Love Island USA community sees her forever. Before we get into the chaos, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. It's free therapy for Love Island fans at this point. Seriously, if you've ever screamed at your screen during a recoupling, you belong here.
For a minute, it actually felt like things were peaceful in the Love Island USA Season 7 world. Nicolandria, Nic, and Olandria were thriving. Their post-show energy was pure sunshine. Brand events, podcast appearances, the kind of couple content that made even the most skeptical fans go, okay, yeah, they're the real deal. Olandria was glowing. From her interviews to the TikToks, you could tell she was in her element. Nic was low-key as always, but the chemistry between them was impossible to fake. Fans were calling them Love Island's redemption arc because while everyone else was chasing clout, they were quietly building something that actually felt real. And it wasn't just them. The rest of the Love Island Season 7 cast seemed to have moved on too. Ace was doing his usual podcast rounds, Taylor was back on socials, and even Huda, yes, that Huda, was showing up in lives, hanging out with the same people she used to clash with in the villa. It gave the illusion that everything was cool again.
But here's the thing about peace in the Love Island universe. It never lasts. One tiny spark, one live stream, and suddenly the internet remembers why this show has more plot twists than a Netflix thriller. And that spark? Yeah, it was about to come from someone nobody expected. So, picture this. A random night, a casual Love Island live stream. Nothing deep, just laughs, comments flying, fans asking questions, the usual chaos that comes with being in the Love Island USA Season 7 universe. And then, suddenly, something happens. It's small at first, a moment that should have been shut down instantly, but wasn't. A reaction that didn't sit right with viewers. Within seconds, the chat exploded. Screens were recording, clips were flying across TikTok faster than Nic can say, it's giving Villa energy.
People didn't even need context. They just saw the clip and the timeline lit up. The reaction from Huda and her circle came off wrong. Not evil, not calculated, just careless. But on the internet, one careless moment can turn into a firestorm overnight. What really fueled the chaos wasn't even the clip itself. It was the silence that followed. No clarification, no quick, hey, that wasn't cool moment. No accountability. Just quiet. And in the fandom world, quiet feels like confirmation. Meanwhile, fans who'd been supporting Nicolandria from day one were heartbroken. They expected someone, anyone from that group to step up and say something. But instead, everyone just moved on like it didn't happen. And that's when things really started to spiral. Threads popped up, fans started dissecting every friendship, every event, every little side-eye moment from the villa to the Huda beauty party. Suddenly, what used to be harmless fan drama turned into full-blown social media warfare.
But while everyone else was losing it online, Olandria, the one person you'd expect to be the most affected, went completely quiet. And that silence? It wasn't weakness. It was strategy. Because what she did next caught everyone off guard and completely changed the tone of the entire situation. When things started spiraling out of control, Nicolandria Nation did what no one else could. They took the chaos and turned it into community. While other fandoms were busy arguing in the comments, Nicolandria supporters showed up with a completely different kind of energy. They started posting edits celebrating Nic and Olandria's journey, resharing moments of kindness from the villa, and flooding timelines with reminders of why people fell in love with them in the first place.
Hashtags like "We stand with Nicolandria" and "Protect Olandria" started trending, and suddenly what was supposed to be another messy Love Island USA drama turned into something much bigger, a movement about positivity, loyalty, and how fans can actually make a difference in how narratives play out online. You could scroll through TikTok or Twitter and instantly feel it. The energy had shifted. Instead of dragging people down, fans were lifting their favorites up. And the best part? Nic and Olandria didn't even need to say a word. Their fan base spoke for them, louder, smarter, and more united than ever. Even people outside the Love Island Season 7 fandom started noticing. Other creators were saying things like, "You have to respect how Nicolandria's fans handled that." Because let's be real, in a world where negativity gets the most clicks, seeing thousands of people choose grace over gossip was kind of iconic.
And right when the internet thought the noise would die down, Olandria made her first public appearance since everything went down. And let's just say, it wasn't just a comeback, it was a full-blown statement. Just when everyone thought Olandria would stay quiet forever, she showed up, literally. A week after the chaos, she attended a TikTok influencer function in LA, and what was supposed to be a chill networking event instantly turned into a full-blown Nicolandria takeover. The moment she walked in, the crowd reaction was insane. Fans were screaming her name, influencers were asking for selfies, and even people who had nothing to do with Love Island USA Season 7 were suddenly posting, "Wait, who is she?"
Every camera in the room found her. The same woman the internet had been debating for days was now owning the entire space with quiet confidence. No shade, no subtweets, no forced smiles. Just pure presence. Clips started hitting TikTok within minutes. One edit had over 1 million views in 24 hours. Another had captions like, "They tried to drag her, but she showed up glowing." Even Nic made a subtle appearance online that night. Nothing dramatic, just a story repost with a heart emoji. Fans lost it. The event became what everyone called Olandria's unofficial meet and greet. She wasn't even the host, but somehow she was the main event. It was the kind of comeback that didn't need words, just confidence, kindness, and timing. And from that night forward, the narrative completely flipped. What started as controversy turned into a story about growth, grace, and standing tall when people expect you to fall. But the real reason this moment hit so hard wasn't just about her appearance. It was about what it symbolized.
Because in a world where everyone's first instinct is to post, Olandria proved that silence, class, and consistency still speak the loudest. When you really look back at everything that happened, this wasn't just another Love Island drama cycle. It was a reminder of how fast the internet can turn, and how rare it is to see someone handle chaos with patience instead of panic. Olandria didn't post rants. Nic didn't jump on podcasts to set the record straight. They didn't try to outshout anyone. They just stayed focused, stayed consistent, and let time do the talking. And honestly, it worked. Because now, months later, nobody's talking about the live stream. They're talking about how gracefully Nicolandria handled it.
It showed fans something important, that staying silent isn't weakness. Sometimes it's power. Sometimes it's the only way to remind people who you really are without saying a single word. And maybe that's why Nicolandria's fan base feels different. It's not just about the couple. It's about what they represent, the patience, the growth, the ability to walk through chaos and come out cleaner than you went in. The internet's going to move on to the next controversy. It always does. But what stays is the example you set when things get messy. And Nicolandria,
They set a new standard for what that looks like. If you made it this far, congrats. You officially survived another Love Island USA Season 7 saga. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's free, it helps the channel, and honestly, it's cheaper than therapy after watching these people argue every week.